Right after I made that comment, the lights shut out. They turned off the camera, they stopped rolling, and they escorted me out and said, "Thank you, Liz Rebecca, very much for coming. Goodbye." I had botched my one opportunity on national TV to talk about Pulso. The amazing humans that you see on screen is my amazing team at Pulso, the nonprofit digital media startup that I founded in 2018 to create news, history, and culture stories for Latinos by Latinos in the US. The Pulso that you see here, though, and all of those platforms where we're getting our message across is not the Pulso of 2018, when I was hired by a media lab as a social entrepreneur and solopreneur, really, to validate our theory of change, which was that the digital relationships that we're creating online could also be used to engage Latinos in the US to be more politically active. After a lot of testing and iterating, we validated that indeed, yes, we could get more Latinos to register to vote and to participate in the elections through our content online. Now that we had that established, my job in 2019 was to go around the country where I took more than 30 flights to raise money for the important work in the most historic elections of my lifetime, which were those of 2020. But I was just one person, and to be able to hire that incredible staff that you're seeing here, 30 flights were not going to do. So I sat back and started to think, how else can I share the story of Pulso to the masses? Well, ironically, that happened through cable media. A group of Latino leaders and I across the country got together and created a directory of sorts where we put together our profiles and our platforms and that which we wanted to share to make sure that the rest of the country find out what we did. So here, in order of political leanings, are the 3 channels that we started to pitch ourselves. And since I do a lot of local media here locally in Miami, I was just sitting back waiting for that moment where I was going to be called. That moment finally came, and a producer from MSNBC gave me a call. And he said, "Liz, we're ready for you. We want to have you on the show at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning to open up the program and talk about you and Pulso and the work that you all are doing for 2020. We talked for about an hour and a half. I had all the info ready. We talked about the themes that we were going to discuss the next morning. And I went to sleep cool and confident. Wake up the next morning, and here I am in the makeup room. I was living my best life, clearly taking selfies, texting my friends, telling them to turn on the TV. Here goes mistake number 1, you all. It was all downhill from here, because what I should have been doing was practicing what I was going to say on air in the next few minutes. After getting all my makeup done, they take me over to the waiting room. And remember I told you all that I was supposed to go on air at 9 a.m. Well, look at the clock. Way past 9 a.m., right? Mistake number 2. I did not anticipate the fact that anything could happen on live TV and that things change like that. I used to work in broadcast, and I know that these things happen, but I just didn't think that a channel like MSNBC would switch things up on me like that. Well, the same producer from the night before came into the waiting room and he tells me, "Liz, everything's changed. You're not going to talk about Pulso anymore. You're not going to talk about Latinos in the elections. You're going to talk about the candidates in the primary, and you're going to be on a panel with 2 other men who I had no idea what their names were." You all can imagine the state of nerves that I'm in. I hadn't practiced what I was going to say while they were doing my makeup. And here was mistake number 2. I wasn't anticipating that these changes were going to happen. So I wasn't mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually in the right place to regroup after having everything changed in the last minute. They moved me over to the studio, and here I am on the panel, lights shining bright, shitting in my pants, quite literally, and just hoping for the best. So the presenter starts asking questions. She talks to gentleman number 1. They're laughing and chatting to gentleman number 2. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a breeze. I got this. It's all going to be okay. Wrong. When I get prompted with my question, which I can't even remember at this point what she asked me, she then interrupts me as I start saying that Latinos are going to be the most important demographic in the 2020 elections. Instead of agreeing with me and continuing the conversation, she cuts me off and poignantly asks me, "Why, Liz? Why do you think that? Who are you to say that Latinos are going to be so important?" I froze, and when it's my turn to speak, I really didn't know what to say, but I tried to pull out a statistic from my back pocket or from my rear end, really, and this is what I said. Well, every day, 800,000 Latinos become citizens of the United States and become eligible to vote. Now, I'm not that great at arithmetic, you all, but if you do that quick math and you multiply 800,000 times 365, that is a lot of Latinos. And yes, we are a powerful force, but those numbers are wrong. Right after I made that comment, the lights shut out, they turned off the camera, they stopped rolling, and they escorted me out and said, "Thank you, Liz Rebecca, very much for coming. Goodbye." I turned the color of my shirt. I was pale and cold and nervous and could not believe that I had botched my one opportunity on national TV to talk about Pulso and the important work for Latinos ahead. I fucked up. And as I get in the car and I call my husband and I ask him how bad it was, he had no words of consolation because of course he was watching live and it really was that bad. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking to myself, was it that bad? No, Liz, it wasn't that bad. Oh, it was really horrible. Oh, you messed this up. No, you're going to be fine. To confirm all this nervousness, I send an email again to that same producer asking him to send me the video of the segment from that morning. This is something that is customary that I usually ask every time I am on local TV. Well, he confirmed my worst nightmare. It was that bad because they didn't even upload the segment to the MSNBC Facebook page or their YouTube or their website. It's as if it never existed because I messed it up. And because that level of mistake isn't something that they were going to be sharing widely on their pages, you all. Mistake number 3 was not coming prepared with a one-liner or a couple of phrases about Pulso and what I wanted to say, no matter the question, no matter the poignant questions of the host, no matter what was coming my way. After having learned from that experience, I can share with you all that no, MSNBC has not called me back again. And now, anytime I have any invitation for any live TV or radio, I make sure to come over-prepared so that this doesn't happen again.